So, in the past, I have made another video similar to this one on books. And I talked about how I don't like books. I don't like reading. I know how to read, which is kind of a flex today. Apparently I've heard that kids, graduate from high school and they don't know how to read, which I'm pretty sure I knew how to read in like first grade. Obviously, I was not reading like, you know, theory of relativity books and textbooks and stuff, but I could read, at least a couple grades above my current level. But this video is not about reading ability. It's about the reading material itself. It's about hardback books. So you have paperback, and then you have hardback. I think it's called hardback or hardcover, one of the two. It's hard. It's hard. I don't know what they put in that to make it hard, but it is hard. Whereas paper is soft, it's bendable. And depending on what kind of book you have, bendable is not good. What I mean by that is if you have a really nice, really expensive book, you're going to want a hardback because you don't want it to bend. You don't want the pages to bend. You don't want the spine to have that crease in it that makes it so that it, wears out. It's very unfortunate. Another thing I don't get about hardback is, well, first of all, paperback gets the crease in the spine, like I was saying. My question is it possible to read a book so much that you ruin it? Like if you were to read the same book every day, like the Bible or something, you were to read it every single day, opening and closing it multiple times every single day, flipping through the pages, would eventually just split in half down the middle? For me, someone who doesn't read, but can, I want to emphasize that. I couldn't imagine myself ever reading a book more than once, if even once. Meaning, if I were to hypothetically read a book, finish a book, I would not, probably could not read it again for like a decade. I would have had to completely forgotten the entire story if it's fiction, or completely forgotten the material if it's nonfiction. Otherwise, what's the point? This is like there's like this baby. Don't quote me on this. There is like this baby that watches like the B movie on Netflix like all day, every day. Like his mom like puts the B movie on all day, every day, and like if the B movie isn't playing, he gets like super upset and like super fussy. Now, he either has severe autism or he's very, very young. I'm assuming he's very, very young. Now, I do love the B movie. I do. I love the B movie. I love Jerry Seinfeld. I made a whole episode about Seinfeld. But when I was younger, this is a tangent, by the way. I'm sorry, everybody. This is a tangent. When I was younger, there was a boy with autism that lived across the street from my house. And he was autistic and he loved the B movie. And that was back in the day. That was back in the day. That's like when it first came out. He loved the B movie. He had like the B movie game on, I think it was on the PlayStation. He had the movie, I believe he had the VHS as well. He had the DVD and the VHS. I mean, he was tricked out. So maybe there's a correlation there. This has nothing to do with hardcover books, by the way, hardback books. But I'm just saying that like repetition of just reading a book so much you need a durable copy is insane to me. That's insane to me. Absolutely insane. You should not wear out a book. That is something that should not take place. You know, if you are wearing out your books so that you have to buy paper or hardback, you need to slow down and take some notes, because it's obvious that you're reading the book and it's going into your eyes and out of your head. So you need to slow down and process the information. And that's why I believe that paperback gives more aura. In my opinion, if I am sitting on the train and I see some little toddler, some little brat with a giant hardback dinosaur book, I'm going to think, okay, that's a kid, that's a child. But if I see a jacked 6'3" guy on the train and he's reading like Moby Dick or something, paperback, and he's holding it with one hand while he's standing up on the train, that's aura. That's aura. That is what reading is supposed to be about. Reading is not supposed to be beneficial. It's supposed to farm aura. And you can't do that with hardcover. With hardcover books is like the sippy cup of books. You know, you might spill stuff on it, you might fold it weird, you might, all these preventative measures. Whereas if you're paperback gang, you are essentially raw dogging your book, It might get tears in it. It might get shit spilled on it. It might get folded or bent or something. You don't care. You don't care. Because you're a legend. Okay? I say this all the time, but this might be the worst episode as of date. I started this with books in mind, which I hate talking about books. We talked about the Bee Movie for 2 minutes, and we talked about autism. And now we're talking about aura farming on a train when I live in a city that doesn't have trains, or at least not any train that I would ever want to be on with anybody. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Are you paperback or are you hardback? For me, the answer is very clear, but I respect everyone's opinion. I appreciate you listening to this, and I will see you tomorrow.